Hi everyone, it's Daisy, and today we'll be drawing Pigeon from Mr. Mo Williams' books. It'll be a drawing followed by a painting, so bring out your paints and let's enjoy. Hi everyone, it's Daisy, and today I've got a video from my preschool friends. We're going to be drawing the famous pigeon from Mo Williams' books. You know, remember those books which are like, Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus and all the rest of it? Well, we are going to draw the pigeon today. So I've got laid out here all the stuff that you may want to use if possible. You can just work with crayons if you prefer, or you can also have paints with brush and everything. So I'm going to start drawing with my crayons, and I'm going to take a black crayon. Now this one is a very easy peasy. I call it an easy peasy because it is. And that's one of the reasons that I want to share it with my preschool friends. So the first step in drawing our very famous pigeon is to make right up at the top of the paper. What you want to do is you want to think about where you want the head of your pigeon. So I want it right there, and inside the head is his eye. So I'm going to put a dot for the eye right there. That's my first step. Then I'm going to make a circle around that dot so that he now has a proper eye. Next step is going to be one more circle. This will become my pigeon's head. It's as simple as that. So I've got a pigeon head and its eye. Now, how about the neck? Touch the circle for your head, and you're going to bring down one line, and you're going to bring down two lines. Now, I want you to make the second line a little bit shorter than the first one, because I don't need to give my pigeon a really long neck right now. So I'm going to make it just a bit shorter. Then I can touch my short line and take a second line out from it, which will become my pigeon's back. Next step, I'll take my long line and I'm going to curve it to take it all the way to the back to make my pigeon's body. So my pigeon now has his body as well. How about the beak? Whenever you make a beak for a bird, it's a really good idea to start from the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and make a short little line that touches his head. Make sure you touch the head, otherwise it's going to be what we call disconnected. Now you're going to take the tip of this and take it back to the head. So that gives you the top of the beak. Now here's another rule. The bottom of the beak for most all birds is always smaller than the top. So you don't want to make it as big. You want to make it a little bit smaller, and remember to touch to the head. Very important. We are still missing the little white stripe that our bird always has around his neck. So right under his head over here, put your finger on it, come down, take your black crayon and make one line and two lines. That gives you that little stripe. That's done. Next, I want to give my bird a wing so that if she wants to fly, she can. So all I have to do is make another curved line just like my big one for my body. I make it here, but I'm also going to give it a tiny little tuck back here so it looks like a wing instead of just a second line. Last but not the least, I want to make his legs. So we have two legs. Let's start by making two lines that touch his body from the bottom. Those are done. How about his feet? We have to think about the feet. There are 3 toes. So you want to go one in the middle, second on the side, and the third on the opposite side. And this is how we end up getting 1 foot. How about the second one? Bring it out, make one on the side, one on the opposite side. One of the reasons I'm making this project with you guys today is because I really like and love the colors that Mr. Williams loves to use on his birds. The background as well as the one on the bird. They are so beautiful. They're really soft. They're not too bright or anything. So I wanted to work with you guys on a project that would allow me to bring all of that stuff out to you. Now, you can take When you are at home and you don't have a palette like this one to mix colors, you can take a regular paper plate and you can just put your colors on there, and that would work too. Let's start by making the color for our bird's body. Now, most of the times we get a very, very light blue. So I'm going to take my white first. Instead of taking the blue first, I want to take my white first. And this way, I can control my colors. So right here, I'm squeezing out a little bit right there in the cup. You can see it, it's not a lot. You do not need a lot just to get something painted. Then I'm going to take my blue and I'm going to show you how little you need to make a tiny pale little pot of light blue color. Look at that tiny little dot, it's a speckle. It's so small. And what we're going to do with our brush next is we're going to mix the whole thing up. So when you mix that really, really little bit of blue, you get a really light blue. Now, if I want to make it a little bit darker, I can add a little bit more. See, it's easy if you want to add some more. If you want to increase a color, it gets a bit difficult when you have to do the opposite. So now look at my color. Look, I didn't take all of it. So I really wanted to show you the painting part because I personally think it's so much fun to mix your own colors and be able to paint. Now remember, when you paint, because you drew the picture, it's a really good idea to color inside your lines. So you want to do your tracing lines. So let's do them together. You want to go nice and easy inside the line right here. Then you're going to turn. Like this. And I'm going to take my time. I never like to rush my painting. I really try to do my best when I work here. And also because as I paint, it feels nice to me that I made a really good picture and then I get the chance to paint it. Versus doing like crayons or markers. It's excellent if you can manage it. And if you cannot, let's say today you don't have those colors in paint, well, that's why we always keep our crayons handy, right? We can use our crayons just fine. And there you go. I'm going to paint around the eye, not inside. Remember, the pigeon's eye is not blue. It is going to be just white, like we all tend to keep our eyes white on the inside. Next, I would like to mix another color, but here's the thing. The area around my pigeon, I want it to be one of the colors from his book. It's like called a peach. It's really soft. It's sort of a mix of white and orange. And so I want to be able to do that first before I go to anything else. So one more time, I'm going to go ahead and pour some color out. This time I'm going to take more. Why? Because I've got a big area to paint. I've got that. Now before I bring the red to it, I'm just going to put a tiny bit of my yellow. Look, here's another little trick that I want you guys to know what artists do. They don't always put the color inside that big pot of color. They always pour outside. That way they can carefully put the color into the first one and they don't have to get messy. If they suddenly put a color inside the main, like so, for example, I guess I'm not explaining this well enough. If I want to make a light color of any color, I need white, I know that. But how much of the other color do I need? I want to control that. So in the case of the yellow for the beak, I'm going to take a little bit and I'm going to mix this first. This is a perfect color for my bird's beak. So I can paint the beak. Now, my brush is too big. So I'm going to use a brush that's a little bit smaller, right there. And I'm going to go ahead and put the yellow inside the beak. That's done. Now our next thing is going to be to do a red. So we're going to add, I want to add just a little bit more of the yellow, just to make it a little bit more brighter, and I'm going to take a tiny bit of my red. I want you guys to try these colors at home. That's one of the reasons I'm working on this video with you all, and I want you to be able to kind of see how much fun it is to create new colors. Now I mixed it, and remember, when you stir, gotta stir really well, because if you don't stir something that is kind of sitting on the side, can't do much about it later on, right? Again, go ahead and trace. Oh, I like this color. I can add more yellow if I want to, but I like the color, so I'm not going to temper too much. Now when you paint, don't just paint in one direction. So what that means is, don't just keep doing this. The right way is back and forth, right? But before you start, because we want to go around the pigeon, we want to make sure that we are nice and clean. Now remember, this is not a race. We are not going to be passing out any special stars or anything. When you do your art, you do it for yourself and to have a little bit of fun and to just enjoy the color and the way that it covers your paper. It's really very, very enjoyable if you don't have to worry about, oh, for example, oh, gotta get to a birthday party, or maybe got to do something else with your time. When you do art, just take some time out and just paint, and you'll find that you really are enjoying it without having to rush to do something else. So I want you to see what I'm getting right now so that you can have a look as to what my finished product will look like. Now, I always go up and down, up and down, up and down. And I like to cover the whole paper, because if I do anything, it makes sense to take the time to do it well. If I just want to rush it, maybe it's not the right time to do it. But it's a lot of fun if you want to do this with your mom, your dad, anybody that wants to be with you, even your brothers or sisters. Sometimes just fun to do things together. And I've got a little bit more. I really don't want to mix more paint, so what I'm going to do is, look at this. Here's another trick. I'm going to pull in all my color and add a tiny bit of water to it. Not too much, because otherwise it will look really like watercolor. And I'm going to pull this down and see what I can get. I think I should be okay to complete the whole project without having to get more paint. But if you think that you need more paint, please go ahead and mix yourself a little bit more. Now that you know how to get the color, you just got to do it again. That's all it is. And we get this really good looking little bird coming out at us. And I'm happy with what I've got. Now, here's the thing. Most of the times when I paint with my students in the school or I'm teaching in a class, I tell them, hey, you got to put a line under your bird to just show that the bird is standing on a ground. But Mr. Williams has never done that. It's really interesting how he just leaves the bird alone in the whole picture. And it looks really good. So I thought, instead of doing anything different, I'll just inspire from him to make a piece. And there, my friends, is the picture of the bird. And it looks really cool because it went from being bright here to becoming a little bit lighter here. So this is called a gradient, when you slowly become dark to light. I hope you enjoyed this video, and take your time. You can pause the video whenever you want. You do not have to rush this, and I want you to really enjoy it as best you like. I hope to see you again soon. Watch out for my other videos. So all the best to you. Have a wonderful week. See you soon.